right, y'all, we decided to switch it up a little bit. Today we're going to be giving you a tour of our brand new 2025 Keystone Alpine Avalanche 380LT. Let's go take a look at what this thing has to offer inside.
Come on in. All right, so you're walking into the main entrance. We loved the space in the kitchen, the floor space, plenty of room for a couple people to cook at the same time. You got your upper and lower cabinets. The ones on this wall are a little bit narrower than the other ones, but still plenty of room for your canned goods and so forth. They've all got the magnetic closers on them so they don't come open while you're driving. The lowers are the same as the uppers on that side. You've got 3 drawers. The bottom one is pretty big. And then a big drawer on the bottom here for your pots and pans. You've got your gas range, a full-size microwave, and then a bunch more storage up here. We've never opened the blinds here, but if you wanted more daylight to come in, certainly can. The kitchen sink comes with 2 little pieces of cabinet or countertops to cover them. We took them out because we don't seem to ever need more counter space. And the sink has 2 sides, which is really nice to put your dry dishes in the one side. We installed the paper towel holder, but it's a really good spot for the installation paper towel holder. Another one of our favorite features of this camper is the ice maker. Both of the doors are freezers, but it comes with the automatic ice maker, so it makes ice, obviously the whole time it's plugged in. The residential size refrigerator, we just left for a 10-day trip, so we are fully packed, but for family of 4, there's plenty of room for food and so forth. We usually keep all of our drinks outside. It also came with a trash can underneath the sink, but it was pretty small, so we just use our bigger one and leave that there. Over here, there's a pull-out pantry. We did have a little bit of trouble with this right when we got it. The shelves are adjustable, so we recommend gluing them in once you decide where you want them to be. One of ours wiggled free and fell down while we were traveling, and then we couldn't get it open when we got to where we're going. So pick a level and glue those in. There's also cabinetry over here that opens through from both sides. So just a lot of good storage there. And then who could camp without the snack cabinet? So we just put all of our peanuts and trail mix and chips and popcorn up there. We also don't use it a whole ton, but we love the ceiling fan. Also in this room, there's 2 air conditioners. So there's 3 air conditioners total. 2, one right over there in the living room, 1 in the kitchen, and then 1 in the master. All right, so coming on into the living room, one of our, or my main criteria for this camper was to have seating for 4 at least, for lounging or watching a movie if it's raining, and seating for 4 if we're eating inside, again, probably if it's raining, otherwise we're usually outside. So that's one of the main things I loved about this camper. Over here, you're gonna have 2 chairs that have recliners. They also have 2 USB ports in there and lighting that comes in underneath the chair. It also says that they're massage chairs, but really they just vibrate and make kind of a weird noise. But those 2 do recline, and this one opens up into a bed. Should you ever need that, we've never tried it. And then over here at the table, this pops up, and they put storage for silverware in there, which we tried for our first trip. For me, it was pretty annoying to come over here from the kitchen if you just needed to grab a spoon to stir something, or if somebody's eating here, you know, they've got to lift up their stuff and lift it up. So we ended up moving our silverware back into the kitchen, but there's an option anyways. The other thing with the chairs is they open this way where you could store something in there. What I didn't think about, I had napkins in there until this trip. What I realized is the chairs, when you're traveling, they go one on top of each other and strapped up towards that wall. And so, of course, when you pull them off, everything that you have in there falls on the floor. So you can really only store things in the ones that stay upright. The other nice thing I like about the camper is the shades are all really thick and pretty blackout, which is really nice, especially when it's hot. They also go up by themselves, like really gently, if you just give them a little flick. Over here, you've got the TV that comes with the camper. It's also got the speakers. You can control the Bluetooth speaker system for inside and outside from right here. And then the fireplace, the little switch to turn on the light. The fireplace there, you can turn that on and it does heat up. So if it's cold out, you can use that as a heat source. Another thing we noticed with the couches in the living room is there's not any drink holders or anywhere to set anything. So this was an Amazon purchase that just sticks on, and it's so far working pretty well. We might end up installing some more of those as time goes on. Right over here next to this couch, I'm imagining if somebody slept here, you know, then they would have an outlet. You can also turn these lights on and dim them up and down. So back here is the bunk room. When you've got the couch folded in, you've got quite a bit of space on the floor that you can walk around, whatever. And then the bed pulls out to about a queen size bed, so we'll show you that in a minute. Put the bed together so you can see that there's obviously a lot less space to move around, but it is a pretty good sized bed. There's queen sheets on it, and we just reused our twin comforter that we had in the travel trailer because the child is sleeping here. One thing to note, the child hasn't complained about it, but the head of the bed does kind of go down a little bit, so if you're a grown-up, you might find that a little bit weird. One nice thing that I enjoy is the couch cushions that are normally on the back fit underneath where you pull out the bed, and so they're not having to lay around when you have the bed out, which we have the bed out most of the time, so that's pretty convenient. So in here you have 6 drawers, so you know, all your clothes and stuff can fit in there. In the bottom, these are kind of just little cubbies, and then you've also got a drawer right here that's a refrigerator. So we've got some ice cold Capri Suns in there. This cabinet just came with no shelving or hanging bar or anything, and so it's kind of a weird use of space. So we had, we installed these, Trevor installed these himself, so we can put all the kids' toys and things in there. So I recommend at least doing some sort of a hanging bar or something, otherwise it's kind of a waste of space. And then on here we just got our, you know, fan and so forth. There's a television back there if you were to put a TV here, and obviously your outlets and so forth. Stepping right over here, you've got your half bathroom with, again, plenty of storage, 3 drawers, the cabinet on the left, and then the upper cabinet also is huge. And then you've got your exit door, pocket doors on the side, the barn door. And lastly, we've got our bunk. So up here, there's a couple cool features. There's a couple windows up there. There's a TV mount should you want to install a TV up there. There's also a kind of random but also kind of awesome huge storage compartment right there on the left when you go up. So if there were things that you really didn't plan on accessing a whole ton during your trip or whatever, we've got some backpacks of activities in there that we'll take to restaurants and so forth while we're out on our journey. There's also some shelving if you were to put books or extra toys up there. But we are pretty impressed with how it cools down back here in the bunk room as opposed to our travel trailer. It did never seem to cool down on hot days. You can see all the different vents on this ceiling. So you're going to come up 3 stairs up into the master bedroom area. Right here, we've got your 2 thermostats for these 2 air conditioners. You can set the fan to be automatic only when the air kicks on or constant all the time. And then up here, you've got your control panel. So from here, you can put in and out your awnings, your slides, also the light switches for the main living area, and also the sensors to test the levels of your tanks. So from here, you can either go into the into the bathroom, or right on into the master. So we'll walk up in here. There's a mount backer located right here, but it would be a pretty small TV. So we just set this TV here and put it on the bed while we're traveling. You've got 6 drawers. They're pretty good size. I mean, like I said, we're on a trip for 10 days and we've got the vast majority of our clothes in there. There's a window behind here. We do usually just keep that closed. This is going to be the cupboard where if you were to put a washer and dryer in here, this is where it would go. We don't have any plans for a washer and dryer, but it is pretty handy that there's outlets in there. So if you need to put any extra devices in there to charge, it's very convenient. There's a hanging bar on the top, and then it's kind of just our dumping ground for overflow things, if you will. There's also outlets up here for a fan or a TV, and also your cable hookup should you put a TV. Over here, you've got the sliding door. It's all just right now hanging storage. We'll probably outfit it at some point with shelving or something. But for now, we just bought these hanging units off Amazon, and they're holding our, smaller clothing items and sunglasses and so forth. Also got this shelf all the way over at the top. And then we'll store different things in the bottom, like extra plastic forks and coolers and things like that. It is a king-size bed. It's awesome. And it also flips up with a ton of storage. It's got these fancy little, what are those things called, that hold the weight of the bed up. So you can work, underneath here to get what you need. Holds a ton of stuff. One thing that we were surprised about when we got this camper was kind of the lack of space right by the bed for nightstand type items. There's really just this tiny little shelf, but it does have 2 outlets underneath there and then a couple more shelves lower down. Of course, nothing keeps your items there when you're driving, so you kind of just have to move them every time you go anywhere. And then each side does have a window with the blackout curtains. We put little tabs of Velcro on the bottom because otherwise if you bump them during the night, they make a noise. But great to have the lights. Anyways, the lights in the master are also dimmable. And then here's your thermostat for the air conditioner in here. Now we'll step into the master bathroom. You'll find a sliding barn door here that has a nice, convenient little clip to hold it when you're traveling so it doesn't fly around. Coming in here, you can unhook this. This is one of my favorite parts of the bathroom in this camper, is this pulls all the way out, all the way out over there. So you can store so many things in there. I have like 10 rolls of toilet paper, 5 bottles of sunscreen. It just goes and goes. This is your toilet paper holder, and it's also a drawer, so you can put extra toilet paper storage in there. And this is your trash can. It all comes built in with the trash can. So you've got a pretty good sized shower in here. It has the glass tri-fold doors that just slide on open, like so. One thing that surprised us when we upgraded from our travel trailer, we have the handy little hooks that hold your shampoo bottles in while you drive. There's no great place to put those in here, so we've got some stick-on shelves we're going to try from Amazon, so we'll see how that goes. And then in here you've got your storage under the sink, which is huge, tons of space for all your towels and so forth. You've got your cabinet over here, and then you've got 3 drawers also. Over here is where you're going to control your hot water heater, so you got to make sure that is turned on from the outside when you park. But then it's really easy to just turn it up or down for if you like a certain temperature. We always turn it down when the kids shower and turn it up when we shower. This was our first tankless hot water heater, so what we learned is that you don't use the cold on the shower when you take a shower. You only turn on the hot, and you're going to control your temperature from here. So I like 104, the boys like 102, Trevor likes it warmer around 110, I think. So that's about it. Back into the entry area, one thing that we're still a little unsure about is where to put your shoes, because you walk in the door, you've got the stairs here and the cabinets start here, and there's only probably about 4 inches after the cabinets where this wall meets. So there's really not a good place to put shoes. Usually everybody, has 2 or 3 pairs of shoes. So we just bought this little shelf on Amazon. It's got 5 shelves, and it stayed there pretty well while we were driving. It didn't tip over, which surprised me. But that's the best we've got so far with the shoe storage situation.
Let's get ready to rumble!
All right, y'all, now it's my time. It's my bread and butter out here on the outside of the camper. So let's talk about some of the features on the outside of the Alpine Avalanche 380LT, things that I am very impressed with, things that I like, and basically the things that I do most of the time. Let's start with the stairs. One of the things that I really enjoy about the stairs is that they are hydraulic. So when you do put them up or you do put them down, you're not having to control the entire weight of them. They stop and you slowly get to raise them and lower them down. You do have the adjustable legs on the bottom, which is nice. Makes it so that no matter where you are, you can kind of adjust that. Make sure you have a nice level landing going in. It helps to reduce some of the bounce in the stairs when you're going up. One of the cool features here, this door, I've never seen anything quite like it. So this is our slide out by our refrigerator and dining room. Has a lot of storage here. We have multiple tables. We have 2 outdoor tables that we store here. We store our American flag that we hang on the back of our camper, all of our garden flags, umbrellas, stuff that's easily accessible. But this thing goes way up into the slide out, and it's really nice to have access to all of these things. Slide outs, we have rack and pinion slide outs on 3 out of the 4 slide outs. The bedroom in the top on the other side that we'll look at is a cable slide out. The only cable slide out, the rest are all rack and pinion. As we come over here, we have access into the belly of the camper. Anytime you lift these up, they are latched. release latch here to get into it, which is really nice. You don't have to constantly be controlling that. Huge underbelly, tons of storage. We have all of our stuff in here right now. Didn't really take a lot out at this campground, and still a lot of storage available to put more things in here. The other thing I love, controls on the exterior of this, where we can set up, unhook. I can put out the slide out on this side and the awnings on this side, not have to relay into Hannah, hey, all right, put it out, let's go. I can do everything. I can look here and see everything that's going on the outside, know exactly what's going on. I can look for trees, anything in the way, put everything out. When it's raining, I can put the awnings in and out, control everything by myself. One thing that is nice, however, is I'm pretty sure, I haven't completely guaranteed this, but I'm pretty sure that our awnings have the auto release feature where when the rain comes on them and they start to load up, it will release that rainwater off of one side, dump them so that they're not getting overloaded with water. Great feature, love that about this camper. Before we head around, let's head on to the back and we'll look at one other thing on the exterior. So one thing that we were definitely looking at when we decided on the type of camper we wanted and the model that we wanted was we wanted to have access to a bathroom from the outside as well. So this camper actually has two doors that go into the unit. This one going into the back bedroom and the bathroom specifically. So it goes into the bathroom that goes into the bedroom. So we can close that bedroom door. If the boys are sleeping, we can go in here. We have access to a bedroom, or excuse me, to a bathroom that we can use if we're hanging out outside, and if we have guests that need to go in and use the restroom. Love this area back here as well. So this door, also on hydraulic, will slowly raise itself up. We have an outdoor quote-unquote kitchen. We have our refrigerator. We have a large cabinet inside where we're able to store things that we generally are using: plates, silverware, garbage bags for outdoor garbage. Also have a nice drawer system here. We store our koozies, all of our grilling situation tools. Because what's nice is we actually have a quick connect underneath right about here where we hook up, we put one of those tables out here. We can hook up our Blackstone. We do all of our outdoor cooking right here outside at our campsite. All right, on the back side of the camper, really nice. We have a full ladder. We can get up onto the roof, service everything that we need to up there, easy to get up onto. The only other real cool thing about the back here, came equipped for the backup camera. Didn't come with one. I had one on my previous camper, took it off. Easy to hook it up. There's a wire already ready for you to go. Cut that wire, wired it all up, took maybe 15 minutes, had a new backup camera installed. We operate that thing 24/7 when we're driving. It gives us good visibility for understanding when to change lanes, how far back the car in the previous lane is, so we know when to change lanes, when not to change lanes, what's going on. So awesome feature, really glad to have it. All right, so in the front here, we do have a couple extra storage bins. Here we have all of our hydraulics for our jacks. We have a 6-point leveling system in our unit, so it's all run off of hydraulics. Our slide outs also run off of hydraulics. We also have our solar capabilities, and our inverter are in here. Sorry, I have tools in the way, but everything's in here in order to run our solar. It does come pre-wired for a tire monitoring system. We used a different tiring monitor system. So on the other side where you saw that storage bay, we actually have a battery over there that we hooked ours into. Here we have another large storage area. This is where we store all of our easy access for our sewer, water, electric. We put all the main things that are just really quick to grab and go. All right, so this slide out is for the master bedroom. This is the only one that we have in the entire unit that's based on a cable system versus the rack and pinion. Under here, this is really cool. So a lot of people's systems for operating their jacks are on the inside of a bay. Ours is completely outside in a waterproof case. This is the Lippert Titan leveling system. So everything's operated right here. This will completely level your entire camper. It has the feature where you can push to return to hitch height. I will say one thing that I'm not super impressed with by this, the factory setting for level is extremely far off. We had to reset that. And return to hitch height generally gets you close, but you almost 100% of the time have to adjust it a little bit in order to get the pin to go into the hitch. But in general, very easy to use. You can also adjust specific jacks on the camper, specific sides. Very easy to use and makes it really easy to level your camper. Here we have our propane. It is a dual propane system. So we have two 30-pound tanks. Operate on one. When it gets empty, you can switch over to the other. Propane, generally what we use it for is grilling. We use it for our stove. We don't really ever use our heat in ours, so this is going to last us a long time. It's look super nice to have two 30-pound tanks. This is awesome. All right, this is access to the same storage system that you saw on the other side. It's just a smaller engine store, so it's the exact same storage bin that goes all the way around. This is heated and cooled, which is really, really nice. Water lines run through there, so they have on this, I think it's called like an extended season package, where it allows you to go further into the fall season because of the fact that it is heated and cooled in the underbelly to make sure your tanks are heated and cooled, your water lines are all heated and cooled. So it's not a 24/7 kind of a 365 system where you can go all winter long, but it is long enough where you can go far into the fall and not have any issues. All right. Here's the operations on this side. This is where you operate all of your driver's side slide outs as well as all of your utilities. So this is where we have our options to put all of our slide outs out over here. So again, same kind of a situation. We can operate all of our slide outs. We know exactly what's going on. We also have our city water. We have our black water. We have our pump. We also have our black tank and our two gray tanks. One thing that I will show you as you get kind of closer to the back end, one thing that wasn't explained to us is that there are actually two different black tanks and two different areas that you have to drain them from. You would think that everything would be in one central location. It is not. We'll show you that in just a second. Here we have our hot water heater. So this is the tankless hot water system. The only thing I want to show you about this is that there's an on and off switch. So when you are not using it, when you're going to travel, you're going to turn this to off. When you get to the site, you then flip that on to the on setting so that the hot water heater will work. All right, so what you have here is if you decide to go boondocking, which we feel is maybe a little bit difficult in this unit just because of the cargo capacity. You can't put a ton of weight into this thing. I think it's about 2,200 pounds. And with 4 people living in this, it doesn't allow for a lot of extra weight, especially if you're gonna go boondocking. You're gonna need a generator, tanks, etc. But if you are gonna try to do it, this is gonna be your fresh tank overflow. So if you're filling up your fresh tank and you get too full, water is gonna start pouring out of here, and it's gonna tell you you put too much water into your fresh tank, and it's gonna let you know that it's time to cut the water and maybe empty a little bit because you're over capacity on the fresh tank. The last thing I wanna show you is back here. So maybe a little bit difficult to see, but back where this black tank in the back is, so this is where the boys' bathroom in the back is, there is a valve underneath there that you do need to pull in order to empty this tank. When we received possession of this camper, all of the valves were open. We were not informed about this one, so we closed all of the valves up front thinking that that's everything that was needed to be taken care of. Let's just say that the first experience with emptying the tanks was a very dirty and not pleasant experience. I've learned that it's definitely appropriate to wear rubber gloves and maybe less quality of shoe that you would possibly want to wear when emptying the black tanks. All right, 2 other things before we end this. A couple of nice features with these large awnings. You do get the LED awning lights, creates a great ambiance. You can also set jack lighting, so each individual jack can put down a down light on the jack, which also creates great ambiance. There are outdoor speakers. So earlier Hannah showed you the JBL speaker system that we have inside. Sound system does come outside as well. You can specifically have it for the outside. It is very interesting. This is the only unit I've ever seen where instead of the speakers being on the sides, the speakers are actually underneath. So the sound comes from underneath the unit. Pros, cons, I don't really know if there's one or the other that are better. It's just different. I've never seen anything quite like it. But hope you've enjoyed this tour of the brand new 2025 Keystone Alpine Avalanche 380LT. Great unit. We're very happy with it so far. Reach out if you have any questions, comment, like this video, share it so other people that might be interested in this can see it. And remember, folks, life's always greater by a good campfire, good company, and we'll see you at the next campsite.